Today I'll be doing a video on the devil. I've been thinking about what the devil's like. I think he hates all people. Well, there are probably some people he has a liking for. But that's an exception to the general rule. If I had to guess, I would say that the devil has a liking for the leaders of the anti-fascist movement in America. I think the devil's behind the anti-fascist movement. It's that corrosive. But as a general rule, the devil hates all people. All people are made in God's image and likeness. Of course, I also think that there might be another exception to the general rule. I think the way the devil views individuals which headed for the worst part of hell, I think he views them in a very unique way. He knows that God does as he pleases, and God doesn't sin in creating people which he knows will inevitably end up in the worst part of hell. The devil doesn't find fault with God for permitting such persons to come into being. I don't think the devil rejoices over the creation of such persons either. I think he views them in a very unique way. Because the devil understands how extreme the pain will be, and how rare it is for someone to be sent to the worst part of hell. Very rare. Selling reserve select persons. If I had to guess, I think that if the devil learned that God intended on sending a certain person to the worst part of hell, I think his reaction would be one of, if he was in their presence, would be like, oh, screwed. There wouldn't be any mourning or grief or sadness or rejoicing or happiness or thankfulness to God for creating such a person. It'd just be like, oh, screwed. I don't think the devil would see God as evil either for sending certain persons to the worst part of hell. I think the devil understands that holy wrath that it's just. When I think about the devil, how he views individuals which are headed for the worst part of hell, I develop a very interesting view of the devil. Because the devil thinks of the worst part of hell as, well, really terrible. The devil would probably be worried or scared if God decided to send billions of people there. That's how terrible it is. The devil would probably be praying for God to be deprived of his rights in creating, bring glory to himself. He would probably be praying for non-existence, because if the devil saw billions of people in the worst part of hell, he would be overwhelmed. It's that bad. He would want God to be deprived of his rights in creating and of his powers. God himself would be afraid to put billions of people in the worst part of hell. God would never let that happen. Then he permitted his creatures to end up, billions of them, in the worst part of hell. But I think the devil, I think he's fine with God sending some select persons to the lowest part of hell. But when it comes to billions, the devil, even the devil wouldn't be willing or be glad or happy about such a thing occurring. That's how bad the lowest part of hell is. I think people which end up there, I think they attempt to enter into a trance-like state, Upon first arriving there, it would probably be something like extreme fear of the extreme assault. But after a while, the person wouldn't see any point in screaming. The person would be in such a state that they'd just attempt to enter into a trance-like state. There are some people who would even have doubts that even people like Adolf Hitler wouldn't end up in the worst part of hell. Mark Pesher being an example. Mark Pesher believes that the order followers have more moral culpability than the order givers. That's an interesting view. I think that it depends on the context. Order followers might be in a regiment where they feel pretty well compelled to follow the orders of the order givers. The benefits of it are so great that they just go along with it. In those situations, if the consequences of not following the orders, if the consequences were very bad, that would be another consideration. All those kinds of considerations would reduce the amount of moral culpability of the order followers, I think. But in other situations, where there is a lot of pressure and the benefits aren't that great, and there's plenty of opportunity for opting out. Then I think that the moral culpability of the order followers would be significant to a high extent. In the former instance, where there are order givers giving orders to the order followers, the other followers feel very compelled and the benefits of going through the orders, that the benefits are great. I think that kind of puts dents into the view of Mark Pashio's work. His idea that the order followers have a lot of moral culpability compared to the order givers. Not very significant dents, but dents nonetheless. The person themselves didn't determine what country they would be born in, what intelligence they would have, what family they would be born in. What stimuli they would be exposed to. All these things would influence whether or not the individual even entered into a position where the individual would be in a position of following orders. And when combined with an order giver, the benefits are great for going through with the orders, and there's a strong feeling of being compelled to go along with it. The consequences of not going along with it are very detrimental to the welfare of the person. It all kind of reduces a bit the moral culpability and transfers more moral culpability to the order giver. So, Nazi Germany, the order followers the morality is interesting in certain situations. I think it's kind of similar to the Roman legionnaire, and which were involved in the death of Jesus. When it comes to that, I don't think God views the Roman legionnaire nearly the same way as he views the devil and Judas Iscariot and the Jews. In a moral sense, the Romans are just creatures exposed to stimuli, coming to being at a certain time, and end up becoming part of the legionnaire. God wouldn't send them to the worst part of hell. They just done what they've been instructed to do. The benefits are probably very good for them. probably feel pressure. I don't think that Mark Pesher would be right if he believed that there's a hell, there's a worse part of hell. That I don't think he'd be right if he believed that Adolf Hitler wouldn't be sent there. I think that Adolf Hitler gave the Nazis very nice uniforms, very fashionable. And I think that there was a lot of good in the early beginnings of Nazism. I think there was camaraderie and rapport. And I think the Nazis would have got along, and there would have been fellowship. And the German economy was improving immensely. They probably had good salaries. All these things would have meant that the Nazis felt they would have gone along. That the easiest thing to do would have been to go along. Germany had improved immensely. There would have probably been a feeling of betrayal of one's country if they didn't go along with the orders. The different things which the Nazis did, some of the things not that bad, just simple commands. Other Nazis, on the other hand, well, pretty bad stuff. Simple commands and just going along with things. I don't think that God was being wrath with those ones. I think God sees Adolf Hitler and others like Heinrich Himmler. I think he sees them as having a lot of moral culpability for what went on in Nazi Germany. And the propagandists. Some of them are very convincing. They seem to be the good guys. Some of the things the propaganda said holds water to philosophical thought. the precepts which the propagandists taught the Germans. So it was very convincing. It held water to philosophical thought.